Hi everyone, thanks for coming. I would like to start us off with asking a question. If, out of all the 5 senses, you could only keep one, which one would you keep? The 5 senses are hearing, smell, taste, sight, and touch. If it is your hearing, please raise your hand. None? Thank you. If it is your sense of smell, please raise your hand. If it is your taste, if it is your sight, there we go. Lastly, if it is your touch, couple. A year ago, my answer to this question would have also been sight. How could I possibly live without sight? I know it's possible, of course. There are many people who successfully live blind, but I thought it would be the hardest one to adjust to if I lost it. Now, however, I would reply touch. If you could please join me in this next exercise, and you can close your eyes if you would like. I would like you all to imagine that you have lost your sense of touch. You can no longer feel the air across your skin. You can no longer feel the chair underneath you. You cannot sense the jewelry or the clothes that you have on. You cannot feel your arm where it is resting on your leg. You cannot feel your lips where they touch. You are touch blind. Thank you. You can open your eyes. If you are like me, you cannot imagine this. It seems incomprehensible to lose something that you have never lived without. Our sense of touch develops while we are still in the womb. And while you may have experienced a loss of touch before, you may not have realized the impact that it had. I have always disliked getting pins and needles in my feet. It happens when I sit in one position for too long, as you may have experienced. This is perhaps the closest I've come to losing my sense of touch. When I got up, I would walk, and it felt as though I was walking on bone. I was uncomfortable with not feeling where I ended and the ground began, even though I could still see exactly where I ended and the ground began. It was unsettling, but why? I know my foot is still there, so what makes this experience so uncomfortable? It is my hope that this question will be answered by the end of the speech. Bear with me for a moment as I go on a side note. Who here likes receiving massages? Massage is something that I've always loved to receive and loved to give. For those of you who know the 5 suggested love languages, mine are physical touch and gift giving. As a child, I found it difficult to find a gift for my parents that they actually liked and benefited from, as there are only so many form drawings that you can give them. In massage, however, I found something that I could give my parents that they enjoyed and couldn't give themselves, as it is decidedly difficult to massage yourself. Often, as a child, I would feel helpless, as anything that I did, others, adults, could do it better. But this wasn't the case with massage, and so it became a source of great pride and confidence. As a child, I was also often told that I had healing hands, or that I must have been a healer in a previous life. And regardless of whether these statements hold much truth to them or not, it was a source of great pride that I embodied such a positive experience. I'm lucky in that both my parents also hold massage to a high regard and have been fortunate enough to receive professional massages, something that I know many other young adults have not experienced. Massage has always been a positive experience for me, and it was a massage and a conversation with my now mentor Esther at the end of last year that sparked the idea for my project this year. While giving me a massage, Esther explained to me that your psoas muscle, a muscle that connects your spine to your legs, contracts when you are stressed and pulls down your shoulders, giving you a hunched appearance, which is why when people are stressed, they walk around like this. I was fascinated by the idea that your physical and mental had such a big impact on each other. Esther went on to explain that your muscles contract when you are stressed because you are in fight or flight mode, also known as your sympathetic nervous system. Often, they'll retain the contracted state even after the stress factor has been removed. This then leads to those tense muscles tricking the brain into thinking that there is still a need to stress, which creates a deteriorating cycle, one that you don't seem to find a way out of. The state that your body should be in for most of the time is rest and digest, also known as our parasympathetic nervous system, which acts as the other half of fight or flight. Our fight or flight system is important for when we are in a stressful situation. Your muscles tense up to reduce the risk of harming themselves, and they brace for impact or fast movements. However, if our body remains in fight or flight mode for an extended period of time where it is no longer needed, it can be physically painful. Having a tight psoas muscle, which is not uncommon as excess tension is stored in this muscle, can lead to a variety of issues. These include potential back pain, leg pain, hip pain, bladder pain, pelvic pain, digestive issues, and worsened PMS symptoms, all of which are less than ideal. With this in mind, I decided to explore the connection between the physical touch and mental health by using massage as my medium. I started the year by completing a full body relaxation massage course in Adelaide. I found it interesting as someone who had only ever done amateur massages to suddenly have any sort of structure to my massaging. The course was informative and encouraging. I was the youngest there, not yet 18 at the time, but I didn't feel out of place. It was motivating to be surrounded by other people who also understood the positive power of massage. One other participant, who was asked not to be named, had just moved to Australia from the Philippines. I contacted them a couple of weeks after the course and asked them about their experience with massage, as they had explained during the course that massage was seen slightly differently in their culture. They told me about how massage was used for traditional healing and was widely believed to relieve stress and help improve general wellness. I found it quite interesting that something like massage could have its importance be subjective. Although the idea was interesting, it was easy for me to understand, as I've grown up in 3 different cultures that each hold a different level of importance for touch. The 3 cultures are German, Croatian, and Australian. Of the 3, Croatian culture definitely initiates the most positive touch, and you greet everyone, whether friend or stranger, with a hug and a kiss on each cheek, and you feel comfortable to do so. Although I don't spend as much time in Croatian culture as I would like due to a variety of reasons, I have never felt left out due to the openness of touch that they exhibit. The same cannot be said for Australian or German culture. Although not particularly touch deprived, they do have their faults. In Australian culture, I have found that touch, although there is a lot of it, not all of it is positive, nor is it negative, but is shown more through sport than through hugs and kisses. For me, German culture lies somewhere between the two, for although touch is shared more, it is with family rather than friends and acquaintances. So, what is the importance of touch? Despite coming into this project with a personal belief that touch is essential for humans to form connections and to communicate with each other, I was still blown away by the impact that touch has on us. Touch is an indicator of trust, empathy, and adaptability, all starting from childhood. Touch is the foundation of communication between the baby and the primary caregiver and creates a bond between the two, teaching the baby to rely on their caregiver for survival. It is also what teaches babies that they are separate from their birthing parent. Touch in early years is essential for babies, as it not only helps develop their empathetic accuracy, but also promotes the release of a growth hormone, which is essential to survival as food. Touch neglect at a young age is often permanent and irreversible, and touch and affection later in life cannot override the early effects of neglect. Just as importantly, higher levels of touch help us to be less stress reactive when older, making us more adaptable. There have been many research experiments conducted around the world centered around the impact that touch has on our relationships with other people. Perhaps the most famous of these is the Midas touch experiment, where an experiment conducted in America looked at the correlation between touch exchanged between servers and customers and the rate of tipping. Some customers received a touch on the shoulder and the rest received none. The customers that received touch had a much higher tipping rate than the customers who had received no touch. This has led us to the understanding that touch promotes pro-social behaviour. Pro-social behaviour is an action committed purely for the betterment of other people or the community with no personal gain, such as donating to a charity or even just showing kindness to a stranger through a smile or a hello, or, as seen in the previous description, tipping your server a bit more. This expanded my comprehension of touch as a way to form connection or to show your trust in someone. As soon as you make physical contact with someone, boom, a connection. Touch creates and strengthens relationships, allowing us to form clear, visible connections to the people in our lives. Touch, such as a hug, can re-solidify our understanding that we are not alone during a time of stress or worry. On top of all that, positive touch encourages the release of the oxytocin hormone, also known as the love hormone. If that doesn't prove to you how good touch is for you, I'm not sure what will. As I stated earlier, I approached this project from the direction of massage, and I originally planned on giving out regular massages to friends or others in the community. But just like all well laid out plans, there was something that I didn't anticipate. This something was an aversion to touch, which isn't the most ideal when this is the center of my entire project. I found that because touch is my love language, I struggled with the thought of forcing it for my school project. I felt uncomfortable initiating it, especially in order to collect data for my project. And although it is obvious to me now that I had an aversion to touch, at the time it was difficult for me to comprehend, as I'd always been quite open with giving touch. The difficulties I was suddenly having with touch was a hit in the confidence I had in my understanding of myself, as touch now felt like a language I could no longer speak. This led me to take a step back from my project for a couple months in the middle of the year, and I focused solely on the theoretical aspect. In August, however, I was in a car crash on my way to my soccer game. Luckily, I was uninjured and I was still able to play the game, which we won. But my body had gone into fight or flight mode, and due to the extended period of stress from year 12, it didn't feel like returning to rest and digest anytime soon. In the following week, I experienced back pains caused by the residual tension in my psoas muscle. To help my body switch back to rest and digest, I booked a massage with Esther, which helped my body and my perspective. I reconnected with why I loved massage in the first place, and that if I had the courage for it, I too could help people feel good in their body and their mind. The following weekend, I met with Paula, a masseuse who has a stall at the Adelaide Hills Farmers Market, and we exchanged massages as one might exchange handshakes. This exchange reminded me that I was not alone in my massaging, and provided me the perspective that just as much as I was giving by giving a massage, the receiver of the massage was also giving back to me through their vulnerability and trust. It was an exchanging of gifts. She invited me to come to the next market she was attending, and I gladly accepted. I joined her at the next 3 markets, giving out free massages in return for people filling out my survey. Although this was not my original plan, it gave me the opportunity to connect to people in my community that I otherwise would not have connected with. There is something deeply satisfying about giving back to the community in such a personal way. The people I massaged were people whom I'd never met before, but they trusted me enough to let me massage them in such an open and populated area, which is something that I deeply cherish. All these people, at the end of the massage, had nothing but positive things to say, and all thanked me. I had the loveliest and most stimulating conversations with Paula and Vanessa, the other masseuse at the stall, about the importance of touch and how that ties in with how we interact with others. Touch is an important part of our lives because it connects us to others and to ourselves. It is nigh impossible to imagine yourself without your sense of touch, as it is an integral part of who you are. The experience of touch is essential to connect to other people. Touch is how you show emotion, how you communicate, and how you love. Touch is our connection. Actions such as hand-holding and hugs convey trust and intimacy through openly giving positive touch, as well as broader actions such as handshakes, symbolizing a secure connection between the two participants. Touch is an essential part of our existence, to take care of our mental selves and to acknowledge our physical selves. Massage is an extension of this and a tool we can use to connect and develop to ourselves by increasing our awareness of ourselves and others. Massage, to me, is a mixture of love and science. Of course, you could always use a massage device or a massage chair, but disregarding the fact that these do not have the same level of skill as a human masseuse, it also lacks a personal touch, quite literally. Massage is so effective because it combines a medical treatment of increasing blood flow and detoxification through lymph drainage with caring for one another. While primates might pick nits out of each other's fur, humans have created new ways to achieve the same level of connection through touch and activities that promote well-being, such as massage. It is something that has always been essential for humans, even if we previously did not understand the full impact and importance of touch. It is especially important in this modern day, where we find that we are often encouraged to be more scholarly and information-based rather than emotion-based. There is something to be said about mind over matter, but modernity and progress cannot simply erase our deep-seated need for touch. It is a fundamental part of who we are. Touch has a positive effect on our social, physical, and psychological quality of life. And to minimize positive touch in our everyday lives is to isolate ourselves and is a disservice to everyone. Every person has the capacity to initiate and receive positive touch to help the well-being of themselves and others in their community. Awareness, courage, and an openness to trust can lead us all closer to reduced stress, improved mental health, and to having closer connections with our loved ones. Each one of us has the power to help ourselves and those around us. Thank you. Any questions?
Hello. Hi, Lena. Well done.
Thank you.
I was wondering whether you explored any other forms of massage from different cultures and
I did have the thought at the beginning of the year to approach my project through looking at the different forms of massage, but it was very overwhelming because there are so many different types and techniques and methods, and not very little of it can be found in a book because it is such a physical thing. So I didn't explore that as much as I would have liked because it requires quite finding a mentor in that subject. But yeah, it's definitely something that I'll look into as I go forward. Thanks.
and my other question is, did you also look at sometimes, you can't go to a massage therapist or whatever, and there are some massage techniques for self-massage. Did you look at any of those?
Not really. I didn't come across
Something else to
anything like
explore.
that. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, awesome job.
Thanks.
I've experienced a lot of massage and different types. The most surprising one was a Taiwanese massage, and at one point she was up on top and she was using her knees, which was an amazing experience. It kind of was a surprise, but the thing that I have found different massages is there is something which I think you were really touching on, is almost the spiritual experience that it is.
Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself, I guess, both physically but also sort of spiritually?
Yeah, so that's what I touched on where I had an aversion to touch, is I didn't prepare myself for this. And so I would come away feeling very drained, or I just felt really uncomfortable. And I think really what helped me was to acknowledge that it was an exchanging of gifts, and that just as much as I was giving by giving the massage, the receiver of the massage had to have a certain level of vulnerability and trust to allow me to give them that massage. And that helped me, through the experience of massage, to not become overwhelmed or not become drained. And I've spoken to a lot of masseuses, and a lot of them have a little habit or something that they do after or before a massage to prepare themselves, like just going for a walk on the lawn or just shaking out their body. So it's definitely a thing that needs to be done, and it's what you personally find has the best impact to help you do that. Yeah.
Oh, I've got the microphone. Sorry. First of all, thank you so much. It was lovely to hear you actually articulate your understanding and to have a sense of your sensitivity towards that, towards that sense of touch and all the layers of meaning that actually touch has.
Yeah.
So, that was a very beautiful thing to listen to.
Thanks.
So are you going to continue massage? And when are you going to, put up your stall in the market?
Well, if my experience this year has taught me anything, is that it's very emotionally draining. And I don't think I'm at the point yet in my life where I would be able to pursue that as a career just because I don't have the mental state for it. But I would definitely like to continue giving it to friends and family. And then maybe someday I'll find that I can do it as a career. But yeah, this is not the point.
That is a very, very wise statement. And again, it's really good to hear you actually penetrating and understanding things about yourself and about touch. Lovely. Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you.
You made it through. So many interesting tidbits in there too. Now, you said you did the survey. Can you just say a few more things that people said about the importance for them for the touch? And did you have people fill out the survey who, like you, felt it hard to receive touch maybe?
So yeah, the results of the survey were everyone thought that touch was a positive thing, except for a couple who weren't sure, but nobody said no. So yeah, there was a lot of different variations of people who had received professional massage or hadn't, and how often they received them. But there were some people who struggled with the idea of touch due to things such as PTSD or autism. But their descriptions of this was more they struggled with the trust aspect than the actual touch. And I can't really speak for that because I haven't experienced PTSD and that. But I imagine it would be quite difficult to deal with that, and it would be quite comforting to find someone who felt comfortable sharing touch with as a solace, a place of solace. Yeah.
Good job, Lena.
Thank you.
What was the biggest lesson you learnt about yourself, aside from the main themes of the project?
I definitely learnt that I shouldn't push myself too hard, too fast. I thought at the beginning that I could just smash it all out and be done with it, but I found that I had to take it slow, and I got better as I went. So it's actually better to do it over an extended period of time because you can improve yourself. Yeah, thanks.
Good day, Lena. Good
Hi.
talk. So you were saying at the beginning, if we had one touch, we would to keep, and most of us chose sight. What
Yeah.
made you change from going throughout the year from sight to touch?
Yeah, so it was pretty much everything that I learned about touch. I think the reason that I would have chosen sight is because I didn't understand what a big part touch plays in our interaction with the world and how it is an essential part of our understanding of the world and how much it impacts how we act. I did read a few accounts of people. I can't quite remember what causes it, but there are some people who are touch blind in the world, and they find that they are very disconnected from their body, and they find that it's a foreign entity, and they they don't have that connection to the rest of their body that we take for granted because we have touch. And yeah, it's just something that I never thought about. So the fact bringing that into the light changed my mind to say that I would not want to lose my sense of touch. And I would rather go blind than to lose my sense of touch. Yeah. Yeah. I'd just like to thank some people who have made this project possible for me. First of all, to my parents for everything they've done for me, not just this year, but also helping me develop into the person I am today. Thank you to the rest of my family who has supported me in numerous ways in all aspects of my project. I want to thank my mentor who, despite having a busy schedule, always found time to meet with me and help guide me through this project. Thank you to Paula and Vanessa at the market who welcomed me with open arms to massage beside them and engaged in thought-provoking conversations with me. Thank you to Christina, who was my supervisor this year as a volunteer and gave her time to make sure I was on track. Thank you to older teachers, such as Rose and Eleanor, who took time to show an interest in my project, and those who, like Kathy, who became an extra sounding board for my ideas. Thank you to the community at the farmers market who supported me, and those who were willing to trust me enough to massage them. Thank you to everyone who has shown up over this weekend to support our speeches. We really appreciate it. And last but not least, I want to thank all my classmates and Aaron, who have been there on my schooling journey with me, through the ups and downs, especially in this last year. I can't imagine doing this without you. Thank you.